Notes for beyond the election that are useful for us all. Jane Fonda was an actress and communist activist during the Vietnam War. She literally went to North Vietnam and in one of her speeches bragged that they got the United States to stop bombing Cambodia, which had to do with enemy supply lines. We're on an equal footing, she said, now we can go to work, in reference to attacking the United States. They did it by protesting within the United States, and they didn't just protest, they set fires and threw Molotov cocktail bombs. Donna Shalala was the first black female Surgeon General. And in a TV documentary about the riots in 1968, she said, if we hadn't got everything we wanted, we would have tore it all down. Angela Davis at the time said she's for the violent overthrow of the United States government and replacing it with communism. She's still around, and when they had the riots a year or so back, there she is, still putting her fist in the air and giving speeches. And at least one of those speeches in Florida, she was getting $30,000 a speech. I'm seeing more than one trend here, but for us, there's violence. You can't say the word no to these people, and boy, that's a phrase that hits personally. If they won't get what they want, they'll protest. If that doesn't work, they'll have sit-ins. If that doesn't work, then they'll set fires and throw bombs in the streets, and no one seems to be able to stand up to them. A university professor named Corbett decades ago described the civil rights movement as nonverbal, gregarious, coercive, and non-negotiable, meaning even though they were screaming and chanting, their words had no meaning to them. Gregarious, they were a small percentage of the population, but a huge number of people, incredibly violent, and not taking no for an answer. Now let's go back to you and I. There's a priest and there's a pimp, and that's the classic battle of good and evil. You're not going to be able to say the word no to these people. You're not getting out of being confrontive to these guys. In all fairness to us, it goes against our gut. I have to remember that in this camp, facing that kind of thing, people start using the word courage, and it's a very hard thing to come up with. That said, it's up to you. If you can't face this kind of violence, then maybe you should go over there and join the city police. And if you can't deal with these emotions, even though they go against the chimpanzee side of us, well, perhaps they can go over there and become a counselor. And that's pretty much it. You're not getting out of being confronted to these guys. These elections are just a joke, so you have to look past that. Remember again that this is a position that says that Kamala Harris and that group are very much the bad guys. But in a way, this isn't a for or anti-Donald Trump. This is a position that says you go behind Donald Trump's back and straighten everything out, and then guys like him can go to work. Right now, he's probably one of the few leaders of the world left that could straighten everything out and give us a chance at a free society. That said, it helps if you have an act you can take. You can admit things when there's an act you can take. And remember, it's a 4-stage process. The first stage is to teach us a sense of original sin. We have to be taught that. And then it's a straightforward, out-of-the-book 3-step process. You go to the Supreme Court and you insist that instead of saying there is no religion in government, you say that there is only religion in government, the Apostles' Creed. And you go through the rest of government and straighten things out. And then there's phase 2. You go into society and you go back to the start of the consumption society and you pretend there's a ladder in front of you and you take that ladder and you turn it right side up. You have the good kind of reparations. And an example of that I think of is here in Tucson, where somebody came in and bought close to 1,000 houses and turned them into rentals. Well, if you take those houses away from them and put it back on the market, then the prices of houses would noticeably drop. If you only sold them to our gang, the average Joe, the American housewife, and there would be an adjustment. and all these good things would happen. Race relegated to an endearing quality of your parents and a lot of people owning things. And then phase 3, you would build, man, build. We know what happens when they institutionalize home economics. Very good things happen. And that's pretty much what this is all about. This is what you have to do. It's all going to fall on your shoulders. Good luck.